In the kitchen whipping sauce. Whipping sauce. Texture dripping with the sauce. Finesse getting it with the sauce. In the kitchen whipping sauce.
Welcome back to Chef Life Podcast. Today I have a very talented chef, a Boricua chef. He owns 5 restaurants, and he owns 4 in San Juan and 1 in Dorado. Ladies and gentlemen, Chef Mario Pagan. Así que se dice, ¿no verdad? Pagan. Ay, perdón, Pagan. Chef, thank you for taking time and coming and talk to me on my show. I'm very humbled that you decided, that I reached out to you and you said yes with no hesitation. I really appreciate that. So,
my pleasure, man. My pleasure.
So it's a big deal for me to see a Latino chef in his country and have so many restaurants and them doing so well. What's your secret?
The secret is consistency. That's it. And having, of course, you have to have the right crew for that. And I've always, I've grown my name already for 25 years on the island. And my name is nothing without the people that work with me. So, heads up to everybody that works for me, because they are the ones who make Mario Pagan possible, right? Because I am my crew, and my crew is Mario Pagan. So that's the whole secret. If you treat your employees like if they were your own family, I think that's the secret sauce for a great business, and expanding and growing. Thanks to them and my managing crew, I've been able to venture to a whole nother level that I ever thought that I was going to. So I'm really, really glad that, I have great people behind me, and they're all young. Actually, they're everybody's younger than me. I'm the only old folk here. So, I'm not that old, but, everybody else is young.
Bueno, it's refreshing to hear a chef of your stature say something like that. So respect for that. I read a bio and it said that you went to Johnson and Wales.
Yeah, I went to Johnson. I was going to architectural school in Miami back in the 90s, early 90s. And I kind of dropped out for a little while, did some flight attendant stuff, for some airlines, because I wanted to travel the world. And then I started getting into food. And a friend of mine told me, why don't you visit that school that they just opened in North Miami? And I said, okay, let me take a look at it. And I saw that there was a future, that it wasn't, the idea of a cook back then was a guy with a bandana on a Denny's window ringing a bell, order up, and there wasn't, I thought that being a chef, it was like, I don't want to say a blue collar job, but I was studying architecture, and, they raised me a certain way in Puerto Rico that, hey, you have to become a professional, you have to do this, and you have to do that in order for you to, have a stable life, and I said, you know what, screw that. I'm jumping into the food business because I really like this. And if my parents give me a little bit of a little tough time, I can tell them that, listen, you can also make money in this business, because look at these people, they have professionals and they have great chefs and they make a lot of money, But I wasn't into it because of the money. I think it was my love for art, going to architecture school that got me into the cooking side of this, and the structure, the colors and everything that entangles food. It's what attracted me to it. And everything else came, with a lot of years of effort and hard work. And now I am in a very privileged position, and I owe that to all the people that have helped me out. My the chefs that I work for, the people that work for me right now are the ones who have my total support, because they have supported me for such a long time, and now they are part of my business.
Man, that's great to hear. I see a quote here that I want to read to you. It says, "As chefs, it is up to us to continue tradition in regional cuisine while also continuing to change and improve it." Now, did you have the mentality after you went to Hawaii? Because it says, am I reading this right? You went to Hawaii, right?
To Hawaii?
Yeah.
No. I mean, yeah, I've been to Hawaii. Um, I think I think that quote is, I mean, every time somebody comes up to me and they tell me, "Hey, I have a kid that wants to go to cooking school," or I have somebody that tells me, "Listen, I want to become a chef," I tell them that you have to travel, you have to see the world, you have to see different cultures, because understanding, for me, understanding the food of certain cultures is how you become to know that culture. You can go to museums, or you can go to parks, or you can do whatever you want whenever you travel. But if you don't taste the regional food of that city or that country, there's no way that you're going to understand where they came from, what the ancestors were, where that food comes from. I mean, it tells you a lot about that culture. So I think food is the major drive of each culture, and 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 it's really really important for me. And the way that you get to know those cultures is traveling. It's really hard if you want to start this career right now. If you work for a certain chef that's really good and you want to make your name, and you probably work there for, I don't know, 5, 10 years, you're not going to be able to see a lot of cultures. But if you have the time to travel, I highly suggest you do, because it's the only way that you can see and open the spectrum of flavors in your mind, and then understand each region, and the roots of every every food style from each country.
Now, ahora, tú no cocinas, you don't cook. ¿Cómo se
You know
dice?
what? That's
¿Cómo se dice? Tú no cocinas, like, tú sabes lo que dicen,
Bacalaíto, alcapurria, arroz con gandules.
you do something more elevated, no la. You do something more elevated, yeah?
Yeah, well, you know what? We actually have bacalaitos, we have alcapurrias, we have mofonguitos in pretty much every restaurant that I have. That's you know, I My style of cooking is modern Puerto Rican. So what I try to do is take those recipes from our ancestors, my grandmother, my great grandmother, or a good Puerto Rican cooking book, and elevate them and modernize them into something up to date. Let's say everybody's used to the mofongo with churrasco, or mofongo with langosta or camarones, right, or shrimp.
See.
So what we do at one of the restaurants is that we I took the idea of escargot on a French style, right?
Okay.
That is with garlic and parsley and white wine and all that. And I do a yuca mofongo instead of a plantain mofongo, and I put a little bit of chicharrón on that mofongo, and then I put the escargot on top with a little beurre blanc of the parsley and the garlic and all the elements that it's the actual dish of escargot, the French dish. So I dare with my food. let's say the alcapurrias. I have alcapurrias, but my alcapurrias are made out of lamb meat, and the aioli that we do for them is with a little bit of turmeric and mint. So I go crazy with ethnicity all over the place with our food. So it's not I get bored when I try to do stuff from from let's say from a recipe. I try to change it and go crazy with it because that's the only way that you have fun. I mean, I'm the day that I stop having fun cooking, and let me answer, what you asked me right now if I still cook. The way that I have fun is just inventing new stuff, twisting and pushing all the boundaries,
See.
but being really, really, really true to the original recipe of the product. So yes, I still cook. I kind of do the specials, right? Or I do the recipes and I tweak them with my chefs. It's not that I'm gonna be on the line still.
Oh no, claro que no. You already put your time in. Listen, you're at another level now.
Yeah.
So I understand what that question dragged because tú sabes, yo gagué un ching. I stuttered a little bit. So I meant to say, do you still cook typical Puerto Rican food in the restaurant? That's what I meant to say. Pero se me
Yes,
zafó.
I do. Actually, the best-selling dish at my namesake restaurant in Condado, Mario Pagan, is pegadito de arroz con pollo. So what I do is that I created this dish. The pegadito is the crackling
Con.
bottom of a con, right? So in order for you to do that, you need to make the rice and leave it there so it can become crispy, right? The bottom can become crispy. So that takes a long time. So what I did is that there's a dish in Spain, especially on the southern part of Spain in Valencia, called socarrat. Socarrat is like con. It's just that, right? So what I did is that I kind of molded that recipe into the arroz con pollo, and let me tell you, I mean, that dish sells, one of the dishes that sells the most in that restaurant, just because it's arroz con pollo, but you're gonna have that crackling feeling all over the place whenever you have a bite.
Man.
So it's a beautiful thing.
So now, how did you find it tough opening up a restaurant down in Puerto Rico?
You know what? I got for the last 2 years, I've been invited to go up to Cornell in Albany to do speeches because the students on the business school there were really intrigued that why, if I had the name that I had on the island and I worked with people in Miami and I lived in the States for so long, why did I stick to Puerto Rico? Because if I was somebody else, I would have jumped all over the place to the States and make more money. And it's not about that. I think it's about, adversity and resilience. And listen, we've been through so much stuff here,
Yeah.
that it makes you think and it makes you wonder, what the hell am I doing still here when I have so many offers outside, I mean, even in Europe to do restaurants, right?
Man, congratulations.
But I believe in Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Rico, the warmth of the people, the warmth of the food. As I told you, the resilience of everybody here, it's what keeps me going, and I will never trade it. That doesn't mean that I don't have any plans on doing some business in the States, which I will do soon. But, my main operations will always be in Puerto Rico.
Mira, the fact that you decided to stick around after everything that happened, and you're trying to open up more restaurants in Puerto Rico to keep the economy going. Man, listen. That's just. I don't even know what to say, man.
Yeah, you know,
It's great.
and let me tell you something. More than that, I think I, as I mean, I treat my employees like if they were my own. I actually have managers. I have my two managers that have been with me, my kitchen manager and my administrator. They have been with me for 18 years. They're younger than me. I'm only 22. So I I they already own part of my business because I wanted to, you know, gratify them in what they've done, gratify what they've done for all these years.
Oh
Because I
man.
think that if in order for you to expand, you need to bring people into the business. You need to bring the people that have sweated, you know, everything for your business into this, and that's the way that I've grown. That's the only way that I've grown. I think that's the right way. I think that every entrepreneur should do that because it's the only way that you can expand and then you can grow and make, you know, a more